Do you want to know the 7 things you should never say when buying a home? Stay tuned. Hey, YouTube, it is me, Ashley, with Keller Williams Real Estate here in Everett. And man, I got it. This is going to be an amazing video. I think you're going to love it. Okay, so we're going to talk about the 7 things that you should not say when buying a home around the seller or maybe even the seller's agent. Okay, I mean, these things could potentially cause you to lose the home, especially if you really like it, or you may end up potentially being asked to pay more for the home. Okay, so these are in no particular order, okay? They could all be like 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, okay? They're all equally important. All right, so the first thing you don't want to say is you don't want to say anything negative about the home where the seller may be able to hear you or the listing agent may be able to hear you, okay? I mean, even if it's true, like, I mean, they've lived there potentially for a long time and they may love the space, okay? So you don't want to be like, oh, the family room is too small, or oh, it's overpriced, or, you know, anything that they can hear that's negative, do not do that, okay? Do not do that because, you know, then they have negative feelings, especially if you send them an offer. I mean, here's the thing, they don't have to take your offer, even if it's at list price. If they heard you talking smack or saying something negative about their home, I mean, they might just be like, well, this person's not gonna love the house. I don't want to offer it to them, okay? The next item, notice I did not say 2. The next item is, you don't want to say how much you love the home, okay? You don't want to say how much you love the home because here's the thing. Here's what happens when you say you love the home and, oh man, I love this, I love that. Once you make an offer, you know, what's going to happen? The seller is going to be talking to their agent and they might say something like, oh, they were telling me how much they love it, they love this, they love that, and they'll pay more. They'll pay more, okay? So it might cause them to counter your offer and ask for more money, all right? So you don't want to do that. You don't want to be like, oh, I love this, I love how you've decorated it, I love the size of it, I love the neighborhood, I love this, love, 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 love. Could end up costing you, okay? The next thing you don't want to say is, do you like living here, okay? Now this might seem like a little bit unusual to you, like why wouldn't you want to ask them if they like living there, okay? I mean, here's the thing, you don't really know what the situation is, okay? So it could be that they live in this neighborhood and, you know, the neighbors are fine, but they have been causing problems in that area, and it might cause them to feel maybe on guard, and it might cause there to be like a little bit of an awkward situation, if you will, okay? So you don't want to ask them that question. The next item is you don't want to say, oh, this is way overpriced. I mean, this goes along with not saying anything negative, okay? I mean, I think if you have questions about the pricing or you're not sure where it is relative to other properties in the area, the thing to do is when you're one-on-one with your agent where the seller cannot hear you, you can sit down and talk about, okay, what's the price? Where are the comps? How much is it really worth? If you have, again, anything negative to say, this would be a great time. You're one-on-one with your agent, say those negative things. I mean, because here's the thing, you can always make a lower offer, okay? And sellers can price their home wherever they want to price it. So you can always make a lower offer. And I mean, if there's something a little bit negative about the home, I mean, you may still love the home. You know, you just don't want them to have the impression that you don't like the house, okay? Especially if it's one that you want. I mean, if it's one that you don't want, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter, but you don't want to say anything negative around the seller. All right. The next item is you don't want to say something like, do you include XYZ? So this ends up being, it could be anything. Do you include the washer and dryer? Do you include the stove? Do you include the refrigerator? Because here's the thing, all that information is available. It's in the MLS. So this is a really easy question for your agent to address. And if something is unclear, then you can always have your agent get with the listing agent, person that's representing the seller, and find out what the deal is, okay? And in this, everything is negotiable, okay? So if there's something that you like in the home, you can always put it into the contract, okay? Like if you're like, oh man, I really love this dining set, I want to keep it. Put it into the contract, okay? Put it into the contract, because then it's easier for them to consider it, right? Like, you know, you already have an offer there, and they can look at it and they can be like, okay, you know, to get this done, we could throw in the dining set, no big deal, all right? So that's simple thing, okay? So if there's something that you see that you want, your agent can check the MLS. If there's something you want that is not included on the MLS or needs clarification, include it in the contract. The next item is, you don't want to say, how much will you take? Okay, how much will you take in front of the seller, okay? It just, again, it creates an awkward situation, okay? It creates an awkward situation with the seller because, I mean, you know, selling a home is complex, all right? You know, people put things on the market, you know, the agent and the seller do their best to come up with a nice competitive price, and, you know, maybe they hadn't considered what they would take 2 weeks down the road, or what they would take immediately, or, you know, it's difficult, okay? So it just creates a little bit of an awkward situation. So you don't want to ask, how much will you take? All right. And the last item, it's not any less important than the items that preceded it, okay? This is not any less important than the items preceded it, but you don't want to talk too much about your situation, okay? Because remember, we're in a negotiation here. So, you know, hey, you know, it's great to kind of meet the seller and, you know, get along with them and have a good conversation. But you don't want to be telling them things like, hey, I got to be here in 3 weeks. Like, you don't want to be providing them information that gives them leverage in the negotiation, because here's what happens. If you've told them all this information about your situation, when they receive your offer and they're behind closed doors talking with their agent, they're going to say things like, oh, they need to be here in 3 weeks, they'll pay more money. Or, oh, they really love the house, yada, 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 they'll pay more. Or blah, 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 like whatever it is. You know, there's a whole bunch of points of negotiation, and I've talked about those in other videos. And so I will actually, I'm happy to, you know, go back through those. But you don't want to be hitting on these areas of negotiation that give them more insight into your situation that would maybe force you to pay more money, okay? Or do something different with your timeline, or waive an inspection, or whatever the case is. You don't want to have something that would put your situation in a less than, okay? Now, on the flip side of that, if the seller is willing to share a whole bunch of information about their situation, great. Get more information, okay? Get more information. You know, if they have to be out in 3 weeks, or, oh, they need to be somewhere in 2 weeks, great. This is good information to know, because that will help you. That will help you in leveraging your situation, okay? That will help you in leveraging your situation. All right, so that is the video. I've just discussed with you 7 things you do not want to say when buying a home. If you liked the video, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you again soon, YouTube.